So, I just messed up this rug pretty bad. What the f we gonna do now? Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jake, and I'm an artist who talks all things movies and TV while I make a rug. In today's video, we're talking Thor: Love and Thunder. There will be no major spoilers in this video. You're welcome. It's also the 8th episode of Tufting Talk, so while I'm breaking down this movie, we're going to be making a rug of Thor and Mighty Thor in a sweet little heart. Stick around to the end to see how it turns out. Let's get rugging. First of all, I didn't know that this movie would be so polarizing. Holy shit. When the trailer came out, everyone and their second cousin was saying, oh my god, oh, this looks so good, I can't wait, the music, the music. And then people see it, and some love it, and some hate it. Why? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And later in the video, I'm going to share the director's response to all the interesting criticism that this movie's been getting. Andrew and I went to the G.O.A.T marathon, which started at 6 a.m., by the way, so we had to get there, 5:45. They showed all 3 previous Thor movies and then Love and Thunder. So we were one of the first people in the nation to see this movie, basically, except for everybody who went to the premiere, but we don't have to talk about that. The GOAT in the GOAT marathon stands for Greatest of All Thor, because there's goats in the movie. They're outrageous, unnecessary, they're screaming constantly. Excuse me, I got a shirt. Thank you very much. If you can imagine this kind of experience, we were going to be sitting in the same seat from 6 a.m. basically to 2 p.m. Yeah, we'd never done that kind of situation, marathon in a movie theater before, but we came in optimistic. Let's just say I should have brought a pillow for this big ass because it was sore. There was a host. Oh yes, this guy had the energy of a pageant queen hyped up on pixie sticks at 5:30 in the morning. He was out there greeting people. Hey, welcome. Taking social media clips. I thought it was for Regal social media, but it was actually for his social media because he was making a reel. Oh wow, are you so excited to be here today? Oh my god. You look amazing, girl. Oh, you guys brought blankets? I love it. You came prepared. But you know what? He was sweet. He served us entertainment. He was just being fabulous. I appreciated the energy. Got a little old after a while, but I appreciated it. I'm just sitting there thinking, girl, it is just way too early for this. Where's my free t-shirt? And I finally got it. I'll show you the back of the shirt too. It's real cute. Now, the first Thor, a completely different Thor than the one we've come to know and love. He was reckless, he was immature, and really not funny at all. He was basically like a stone statue that had the power of thunder. A stone statue that we could admire, but not necessarily fall in love with, if you know what I mean. In fact, he was pretty serious. I could even go as far as to say boring. Boring. Even Loki had more dimension in the very first Thor. Now, in their defense, this was done a long time ago, before Avengers was even a thing, so I understand. For continuity purposes, it doesn't completely make sense, but it was still a good movie. The second Thor, Thor: The Dark World, do we even need to discuss it? It's terrible. Yeah. It ended and I thought, wow, they really watched the final cut and thought, yeah, that's ready for release. And they released it. Yeah, it's a no for me. It's a no for me, dog. Thor: Ragnarok? That one leaves me speechless for all the best reasons. Hate Blanchett? I want her to just slap me across the face right now. This bitch knows how to play a villain. She gets us to hate her while also getting us to have a little bit of sympathy for her. Wild. I mean, the story is solid, the action and effects are phenomenal, and the stakes are so high. And after seeing the fourth one, I think Ragnarok is still my favorite. Number 3 ends and it's time for the main event. We got our popcorn. Thor: Love and Thunder was directed by the same director who did Ragnarok, Taika Waititi. And he is a Kiwi director who's done What We Do in the Shadows, and he's been in a bunch of other things. He is comedy. Watching hours and hours of Chris Hemsworth on a big screen can not only give you whiplash and a dry mouth, but it can show you just how much the character of Thor has changed. True character development. It seems like the writers could not find his voice for a long time, and then they finally nailed it down in the Avengers movies. They said Thor has to be witty, clever, hot, powerful, hot, And eventually, when they did nail down who Thor is, everybody fell in love. Everybody was obsessed. Ragnarok is the first one where it really feels like him, like the Thor that we know. He no longer takes everything so seriously, but he also knows when he needs to tone it down for a somber moment. Yeah. Also, Chris's body, it's extremely unattainable. It's like outrageously muscled. I don't know if they face tuned it a little bit or if that's just all him working out 8 hours a day. Whatever it is, it's working. Before we dive deeper, let me give you a synopsis of Thor Love and Thunder in case you haven't seen it yet. Thor Love and Thunder, the fourth Thor movie, is about Gore, played by Christian Bale, who's been infected by a dark sword and has chosen to set out on a mission to kill all gods. Thor gets involved because, hi, he's a god. He lost 2 team members, his entire realm, both parents, his brother Loki, and all his Asgardian warrior friends, except for Lady Sif. Oh! And he lost his hammer because his sister needed a stress ball. Hella Kate. Yeah. Then him and Jane ended up dating for a few years, but then they broke up. He's not really in the best place right now. Even though when the movie opens, he is apparently a meditative king. I don't know. He is having fun with the Guardians of the Galaxy, who are really in it for about 10 minutes before they are like, BRB, gotta go on another mission. We've got a 3rd movie to film, so gotta go. The movie centers around Thor hunting Gore before Gore can hunt Thor, if you know what I mean. And that's all I want to say for now because I don't want to spoil anything big for those of you who haven't seen it yet. Let's get to the haters. There's always a few. Seems like there's quite more than a few for this one, though. Let's face it, you're never going to make everyone happy. But this movie has people split down the middle, apparently. Most of the complaints surround the poor CGI, which allegedly is a result of pushing the visual artists too far with tight deadlines and last-minute changes. Just watching the end credits shows you just how many people worked on this film. So many studios, so many artists, it's insane. The other main criticism is that Christian Bale didn't get enough screen time. Now, this one I agree with. Christian Bale was in it for 14 minutes. 14 minutes. The villain, the whole reason that there's even a 4th Thor movie in the first place, his origin story is just so short, and then all of a sudden, he's evil. How are we supposed to get invested in a character that we don't really know? Where's the Silver Surfer? He was mysterious, dangerous, powerful, but we liked the mystery. We didn't mind it. We should get to know the villain. Maybe some more flashbacks, some more context. Christian Bale is a phenomenal actor, truly one of the best. An actor of his caliber shouldn't just be paid well for the movie, but his character should be in it for longer than 14 minutes. Not to mention that everything I've read about comic book Thor paints him as this epic, dark, powerful character with deep and complex emotions. The adaptation it wasn't right. We didn't even get to see Gore destroying other gods. We just hear about him killing them. We actually see a giant dead one at some point too, but we never actually see a slaying of a god. We didn't get to see the fear that he was supposed to be instilling in us. I honestly think they just chose the wrong villain and they should have saved Gore for another movie when they had the time to be able to dive deep into this character and develop it a lot more. The true villain and hero of this movie, the ones doing the real fighting, are the genres of comedy and horror. Gore is an intense villain who's constantly vying for your attention, and when he gets it, we switch to a scene that feels like it's plucked out of a completely different movie. Even when the movie starts, we're dropped into Dune, basically. We don't know what the hell's going on. I literally was like, is this the beginning? Or is this a trailer? No, it was the beginning. While I have my own issues with the movie, I really enjoyed it. For my ADHD ass to sit in a chair for 8 hours, I have to really like something. Apparently, the haters really came out for this one, and I have a theory as to why. If you watch the trailer, it paints the picture of a completely different movie. It's being released in the summer, it has a huge budget, it's giving 80s music because, Thor's been hanging out with Guardians of the Galaxy, so we're gonna have a full 80s soundtrack, right? Wrong. I think people are upset because the movie was a lot different than we all expected. For me, it was different in a good way. And for others, well, apparently Marvel has lost a lot of diehard fans. If you're leaving the fandom, then I question how diehard you really are. Because if you're a diehard, you're gonna stick around even when things are not good. Even when they're struggling. It is truly a stretch to say that this is a bad movie. It's not an amazing movie. It's not everything everywhere, but it's not a bad movie. It just turns out to be a comedy with a little bit of action mixed in. It felt like they were trying to capture the essence of Shazam. Don't come for me. Don't come for me. This is probably the one and only time that I'm going to compare Marvel to DC, where in Shazam there's a solid balance of humor and drama. It's as if the writers tried so hard to find that balance between comedy and drama that they ended up just tipping the whole damn thing over to comedy. Let's talk the director's response. First off, this movie has done extremely well in the box office, $700 million internationally as of the filming of this video, against a budget of $250 million. Despite all the backlash it's been getting online, it's done extremely well for a bad movie. Taika didn't really have much to say, as I wouldn't either, because he probably spent years of his life pouring love into this project for a lot of people to hate on it. He just quote tweeted someone's tweet of a comic frame where Thor and Luke Cage are doing a full-on dance routine. It's possible that Taika looked at the silliness of the comics, paired it with his brand of comedy, and maybe it got a little out of hand. Speaking of getting out of hand, let's talk about the humor that got a little carried away. As Andrew put it, so many of the jokes danced on the line between stupid and funny that sometimes we didn't even know which one it was, but we laughed anyway. It's as if they were trying to make every scene an SNL skit. There has to be a balance since, hi, someone's trying to kill all gods. All of them. So the stakes are high. The stakes are there. It's not as if this is a completely meaningless movie. How it connects to the rest of the MCU, that remains to be seen. I have no idea. Thor has truly lost everything, and after seeing Ragnarok right before Love and Thunder, Ragnarok ends on a super heavy emotional note, but also one that's filled with hope. And then we know what happens at the beginning of Endgame, the scene that I always skip because it's just too much. And then all of a sudden, Thor is this meditating, egocentric superhero who really doesn't have a care in the world. Just a little confusing. I thought we were supposed to move forward in character development, not back. It's almost like Thor was dematured by the writers. But you could also argue that could happen in real life too. Maybe they should have done a marathon of all the movies that Thor's been in so they could remember where he came from and how far he's come. The damn goats. They were trying so hard to make them a thing, but their voices were human. Goat screams are already hilarious enough. But it was fully a human screaming in a recording booth somewhere in Hollywood, and they thought, yeah, that's a good idea. Because goat screams sound like human screams, so we'll actually add another layer just because, let's complicate things, and we'll have a human screaming like a goat that screams like a human. They should have just gotten the real thing. I mean, $250 million budget. It's Marvel. It's Disney. Come on, get some goats in there. It can't be that hard. They've got people playing an alien made out of rocks. Really, anything's possible. Phase 4, it's in a crisis. You're in a crisis. I'm on my way.
You guys are in a crisis. I'm on my way.
It seems like Marvel just didn't know how to recover. Eternals flopped. I couldn't even watch more than one episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, no matter how hot Sebastian Stan is. And they made a huge mistake releasing Miss Marvel around the same time as a huge summer blockbuster movie that's been anticipated for a while. I will say, though, that Shang-Chi has become one of my favorite Marvel movies. It is some of the most exquisite visual effects and production design. The casting, the music, the story, it was so good. It left me feeling hopeful about the state of the MCU. I'm not even going to discuss Multiverse of Madness because everybody else has, but I will say that I did a movie. Yeah, I did a movie. But I did make a video, so you should go watch that. It came out real cute. Kevin Feige usually has everything planned out so well, so many years in advance. I don't understand what's happening behind the scenes. It's possible that Disney is trying to take too much creative control, or Marvel has just made a series of poor decisions that did not go over well with the public. Whatever is happening, something's got to change. Marvel has a devoted fan base, but they can lose it just as fast as they gained it. Enough of the negative. Enough of it. Let me talk about what I loved about this movie. Yes, it had stupid humor, but it had such heart. I laughed at the stupid shit, not just because it was outrageous, but because it was funny. Because it was outrageous. The relationship between Thor and Jane is really sweet, and you can tell that he's definitely not over her. And I think she'll always have a soft spot for him. Taika's character, Korg, fucking hilarious. I don't know what kind of crack Taika was on when he wrote Korg for this movie, but whatever it was, it works. Minor spoiler, I love that he had gay dads. Just so cute. The kid fight scene, iconic. That's all I'm gonna say. It took me all the way back to Spy Kids. Instantly transported to 2001. Yeah. Thor's new costume, loved it. It's opulent, strong, and very classic Thor. I loved that shade of blue, but what I didn't love was that "let's go to the masquerade" mask that they put on him in a fight scene. Yeah, we need to get rid of that. Don't put that on him ever again. You cannot hide Chris's face. It's unnecessary, it's uncalled for, it's unwanted. Don't do it again. Valkyrie looked sickening in her outfit as usual, but Andrew did point out that she was in her pajamas for a little too long into the fight. And honestly, we could have used a little more fighting action from her. But I understand there's only so much you can fit into a movie, even though you're Marvel and you had a budget of $250 million. You didn't have to squeeze everything into 2 hours because most of your films are over that usually. But listen, I wasn't in the room. One very random thing that I didn't like is them referring to Mount Olympus, where all the Greek gods live, as Omnipotence City. Everyone knows Greek mythology, so why are we referring to it by a fictional name? Maybe I'm just ignorant and that's what they called it in the comics, but it's very clearly Mount Olympus. Let's just call it that. And the very last line of the movie, I'm not going to give it away, but it was very early 2000s classic movie ending, and oh, it got me good. It was just so perfect. Thor's character development, little confusing, as I said earlier. I think Infinity War Thor is the best Thor. He was at the top of his game. He knew exactly who he was. He knew what he was fighting for and how he was going to move forward. When he smashes into Wakanda in a fiery blast of thunder, oh, I'm sweating. Is it hot in here or is it just Chris Hemsworth? Spoiler, it's just Chris. We needed more of that power. We need more of that bussy-breaking power in this movie. In the first Thor, they set him up as this badass who didn't understand Earth culture, the classic alien trope in movies. He had a newborn sense of naivete, but he slowly found himself through the Avengers movies. He was mostly himself in this one, but something about it just felt a little off. All in all, I loved this movie. There was so much left unexplored, and yes, a lot of cheesy jokes, but it's a great movie. You need to go and see it if you haven't seen it already. I just don't totally get what the haters are on about. I'm very critical, yes, but when I'm watching movies, I lead with the way that it makes me feel. How I feel when I'm watching and how I feel when it's over. I can overlook major plot holes, poor CGI, if I left feeling happy, if I left cinematically satisfied. And this movie definitely left me full. I give it a 4 out of 5. Might be controversial, but that's what I feel.
So I'm just over here, minding my own business using this carpet flattener machine when it fully takes a chunk out of the rug. And of course, it's the bottom part of the heart, so I had to get thrifty and cut that bitch straight across because Beyonce's album just came out on Friday and I'm not gonna let any negativity get to me.
Grab your screaming goats because it's time for the rug reveal. Thor Odinson and Jane Foster share the spotlight in this sweet rug full of love and thunder. But the rug would be incomplete without Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, who also make an appearance. I experimented with using Ombre yarn, and I think it came out pretty good. If you want to see this rug come to life using augmented reality, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at WildJakey and at Cinerugs. If you enjoyed this video, I've got your next watch right over there. If you like my vibe, hit subscribe and hit that like button because it got cast as a villain in a huge movie, and it just found out that it's only in 14 minutes of it. Give him a like. It's alright, Christian, if you fall, just get back up again and again. Just the life of an actor. You'll get something better in the future. I believe in you. You've got a lot of potential. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Jake, and I'll see you next time.